Here's something that genuinely threw me. There's a tiny brass tuning fork buzzing away inside some watches, and it beat so precisely it kept time to within a minute a month back in 1960. No battery chip, just a fork and a magnet. We'll get there at number 1. But first, 9 everyday mechanisms that are hiding far cleverer engineering than they've any right to. Let's count them down. Start with the thing in your pocket. A ballpoint pen has a tungsten carbide ball about 1 millimeter wide sitting in a socket with a clearance of maybe 10 microns, a tenth the width of a hair. As you write, the ball rolls, ink coats the back of it by capillary action, and it lays down on the paper. The clever bit nobody mentions, the ink is a thick paste, deliberately, so it won't leak in your pocket but shears thin under the rolling ball. Getting that ball perfectly round was the whole problem. Laszlo Biro spent years on it. Now hold that thought, because the next one relies on precision that's even smaller. A zip looks simple until you watch the slider in slow motion. Each side has teeth, properly called scoops, with a hook on top and a hollow underneath. The Y-shaped channel inside the slider forces each tooth to slot its hook into the hollow of the tooth opposite, alternating left-right, left-right. That interlock is why a zip holds against a pull crosswise but slides open easily lengthways. A jammed zip is almost always a single bent tooth, because if one won't seat, the whole chain won't close. I find it wild that Gideon Sumbach's 1913 design is basically unchanged. Next up, something that heats your dinner without getting hot itself. Put your hand flat on a switched-on induction hob and it's cool, yet the pan is searing. Underneath the glass sits a flat coil of copper wire carrying alternating current at around 20 to 50 kHz. That creates a rapidly flipping magnetic field, which induces swirling electric currents, eddy currents, inside the steel base of the pan. The steel's own resistance turns those currents straight into heat, right there in the metal. The glass never heats directly, it just warms from the pan sitting on it. That's why it only works with magnetic cookware, and why it's about 90% efficient. Now, from magnetic fields to something that boils water from the inside. A microwave doesn't heat from the outside in, it heats the water molecules directly throughout the food. At its heart is a magnetron producing waves at 245 GHz. Water molecules are polar, meaning slightly positive one end, negative the other, so they try to flip and align with the field 2.5 billion times a second. That frantic jostling is friction, and friction is heat. The reason you get cold spots is standing waves, peaks and troughs fixed in the cavity, which is exactly why the turntable exists, to drag the food through the hot and cold zones. Speaking of invisible forces doing precise work, look at this next one. The pin tumbler lock on your front door is a beautiful bit of logic. Inside the cylinder are 5 or 6 spring-loaded pin stacks, each split into 2 pins of different heights. With no key, the split sits inside the plug, jamming it. The right key lifts every pin stack so that each split lines up exactly at the shear line, the gap between the plug and the housing, and only then can the plug turn. Every wrong key leaves at least 1 pin crossing that line. Lock picking works by finding the 1 pin that binds first and setting them one at a time. Egyptians had a wooden version of this 4,000 years ago. Next, the mechanism that keeps your house at one steady temperature. Old dial thermostats hold your room at temperature using nothing but 2 metals glued together. That's a bimetallic strip, often brass bonded to steel. And because the 2 metals expand at different rates when heated, the strip bends. Curl that strip into a coil and one end sweeps as the temperature changes. Wire a contact to it and boom, at your set point the strip flexes just enough to snap the circuit open and cut the heat in. Cool down, it bends back, contact closes, heats on again. No electronics, no sensor chip, no software. Many old ones even had a tiny mercury switch riding on top. From temperature to time, this next one is genuinely gorgeous. The flush toilet works without any electronics, using a shape you can't see. The siphon. When you flush, water rushes into the bowl faster than it can drain, rising up and over the bend in the trap. Once water fills that whole curved passage, it acts like a siphon. The falling column on the far side pulls everything behind it, and the entire bowl empties in a rush. When air finally breaks through, the siphon stops with that gurgle. The S-bend does double duty. It holds a plug of water that seals sewer gases out of your bathroom. Alexander Cumming patented that bend in 775. Now, 3 mechanisms left and they get more clever. That satisfying click pen deserves its own moment because the mechanism is fiendishly clever. Press the button and a plunger pushes a toothed cam against a rotor with angled teeth. Every single press rotates that rotor a fixed amount. Around it goes, alternating between a set of deep slots that let the tip lock out and shallow ridges that let a spring shove it back in. Same push does opposite things because the rotor has stepped 1 position each time. It's a ratchet doing binary counting with nothing but plastic ramps and one spring. Look inside a Parker Jotter and it's mesmerizing, but the top two are on a different level entirely. A wind-up mechanical watch stores energy in a coiled mainspring, but the genius is doling it out in perfectly equal sips. That's the escapement. A balance wheel swings back and forth, and a tiny anchor called the pallet fork lets the gear train advance exactly one tooth per swing. That's the tick you hear. It both releases energy to keep the balance swinging and blocks the wheels from spinning free all at once. A typical watch ticks 28,800 times an hour, 8 beats a second. Every one of those beats is the escapement letting one precise gulp of spring energy escape. Get one apart and running, and it's